one of my cats or something like that, but I haven't been able to master that, to add one, my own picture to the
Right.
choice. So I know it's possible, but
Okay, are we ready now?
Yes,
Katie?
we are live on YouTube. Good to go.
Okay, great. This is the meeting of the Chagrin Falls Parks Commission on June 2nd, 2021. The first item of business is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. And I'd like to make a motion that does anyone have any corrections on those minutes?
No.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion that we approve these minutes.
Second.
Great.
I'll call you back about it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, the first item
No
is,
personal phone calls while we're in the meeting.
hi, John. Okay, our first park event application is from Soul Shine Yoga. They want to have yoga in River Run Park on Saturdays at 10 to 11, June, July, August, September. And the one caveat we have here is that those ball fields are used at some of the same times that they've applied for. So is anyone from Soul Shine Yoga here today? I guess not. They're going to have to get in touch with Debbie Barger from the Chagrin Athletic Association to make sure that they are not scheduling yoga at such a time that it's going to conflict with the ball fields. I don't know in what part of the park she wants to do it, but maybe if they were over near the bocce court or something, that would be okay. What do you think, John?
Yeah, the thing would be parking, which would really be
Yeah.
tough, because when you have a baseball game, they're all filled up, and I don't know where they would park.
So when do they have? Do we know the schedule for the baseball games?
They're inconsistent. I looked at the calendar for June and there were a couple of dates at 10 o'clock, so that would conflict for sure. So there's always a lot of traffic down there for those games. I mean, the parking lot would probably be full.
Yeah, typically when we played, it was Tuesday, Thursday for travel baseball, and all the regular rec leagues would play the other days, and you got to get, like you said, get with CAA on that stuff.
Yeah.
I did just get a communication from CAA this morning that their registration just closed. So they're going to be working on their schedule coming up here. So I'm expecting that shortly.
So how should we handle this?
It's kind of tough when there's no representative to discuss it with. I suppose that, we could approve it conditionally on, coordination with, the baseball practices, or, finding out if there's enough space there, maybe away from the ball field, or I don't know how far kids hit baseballs, but, out of the reach of that, the corner of the park. I don't know.
Right. But it's
But they-
also
but
the
they- but
parking
they-
too.
Well, parking is, we don't consider parking on the other park, people using Triangle Park or Riverside Park.
Are baseball
No, we
games
have-
usually from 10 to 11 though? Aren't they in the afternoon, or are they in the morning, John?
They asked for 10 to 11, so maybe they just need to look at the schedule and change their times to accommodate the baseball schedule that's already pre-existing.
And that's possible too. They maybe do it at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, there is a phone number for this Mary Beth Mayer. So, and an email.
Yeah, I think 9 o'clock is a good idea.
And then they'd be just about done by then. It like I said, though, it's just hard to discuss it without some representative from.
I'm not seeing any attendees raise your hand if you are here and you but the names up don't look like they're anybody for the yoga, but for the attendee list, so. I'll keep my
And
eye out.
there again, you got to look at when you're warming up for baseball, it's least. I've always had my players come like 45 minutes beforehand.
Okay,
So if you're saying 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and the game's at 10 o'clock, they're still going to conflict.
Right.
My
you
opinion.
have any idea what time those games start? I don't know. I have no idea.
No, we
And they
don't have
said-
anything to do with the scheduling of the baseball games or that.
Oh, okay.
Well, when I looked at the schedule for June, the earliest game was 10 o'clock.
Mm.
So that definitely conflicted,
Mhm.
but I never thought about the parking. And so,
I wonder if this owner of the yoga studio would be open to Sundays, perhaps, Sunday morning or something.
yeah,
Right, like someone was, her not being here, or where is Soulshine Yoga? I've never heard of that.
it's in,
It's on
well,
Solon
it just
Road.
says 148 Solon Road. I don't know where it is. Mary Beth Meyer is the person.
Okay,
And she's guessing 25 people. So, I mean, that's going to be 25 cars probably.
So, I think we really need to speak with somebody about it. So we can,
Okay.
we can just approve it condition on them not conflicting with baseball, or just let it slide until next month.
But then that's a whole month she's going to lose.
Well, there's just no, it's not productive really to talk about it without some representative to know if they can do it, later, earlier, Sunday,
Right.
another day of the week.
I'm willing to give her a call. I'm willing to give her a call and lay that out to her and say we approved it conditionally. If you don't conflict with baseball, here's the baseball schedule. And then
Well, she'd
she'd
have-
have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'd have to talk to,
Debbie
Rob.
Barger.
well,
Right.
she'd have to talk to somebody, not just, she'd have to talk to somebody about it and reset the dates, not just randomly decide on her own.
Right. So she'd have to come to a meeting no matter what, or at least submit something new.
I think so.
Okay, so I can give her Debbie Barger's telephone number and email,
Give who that?
the person who's applying. Her
Give that
name is
number to who?
Mary Beth Mayer is applying for this Soul
Right.
Yoga.
But who would you give her number to?
No, she'd give the number to Mary Beth. Mary Beth owns Soulshine.
So I would give Mary Beth Debbie Barger's email and phone number so that they can communicate about the schedule.
I think it needs to be through the village, through Rob or through you,
Okay,
not with each other deciding.
all right, so,
And it sounds like Rob said they don't actually have their precise schedule yet. Is that correct, Rob?
As far as I know, that's the email I got this morning, that they're working
Okay.
that out now.
Yeah, so. But it needs to go through the village, that discussion.
so shall we just postpone it to the next meeting?
I guess that's what we have to do.
Okay. All right. Then, as you all know, we got this last minute application from the Historical Society for the 4th of July. This is an event that has happened in the past. It's from 8 until 2. It would be a morning pep parade, a children's bike parade, a brief program with the national anthem and reading of the Declaration of Independence, and the Fab 50s car show. I have no problem with it.
They're
Because
obviously gonna close off North Franklin, right? Is there a
Yes.
car show? Okay. 'Cause they don't have
But
that. Mark.
somebody, and I'm willing to do it, needs to be down there at the triangle to make sure they don't put cars on the grass. Because every year when Terry did it, they challenged him and they challenged a female police officer. And they were pretty rude about it. And I even commented to her about it, that I just couldn't believe they were talking to her that way. And she said, oh, it happens all the time. But they just can't drive on the grass because of the sprinkler heads.
So who's in charge of that? The car park?
I don't know who's in charge of that, but the Historical Society is in charge of it. And Angie said that she would make sure that they know about this. I can talk with Ruth Zager about it.
Well, it isn't Ruth. I mean, it's whoever's in charge of the cars needs to be told.
Right, I know, but I mean, I would contact her to find out who was in charge of that
Right, okay.
and make sure that she imparts that knowledge to that person.
Yeah, that's who needs to be told
Right.
that they can't do it.
But otherwise, I mean, I think does anyone have any objection to approving this?
No, but you
No,
put that on the application note too, is no cars on the grass or hard surface of the triangle.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the application. I can't look at it right now because I just got it. And can anybody look at it right now and see if it says anything about
yeah.
that?
Well, we can communicate to them, they'll get the word.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, if we require it, if we say in the motion that we require that they not park on the hard surfaces, only on the
Street
Road.
parking only.
road pavement, then that's what they'd have to do. That's part of the application.
Okay,
It says on here, setup plans, vehicles are prohibited from driving on the grass without express consent of the village administration. So it's on there.
oh, great. Okay,
Thank you, Todd.
all right, then I'd like to make a motion that we approve this usage.
Second,
Great. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is about Riverside Park and the playground.
should we vote on that?
Well,
And that
I don't
part-
think we can vote on it.
We-
It's kind of actually, I would like to skip that for
Oh,
right
to-
now
to-
and go.
To recommend the Historical Society's use of the park.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So you will make a recommendation at the next council meeting?
Yes, but,
Okay.
okay,
So I'm sorry, I'm just so overwhelmed with too many things. So, but I made the motion, Nancy, you seconded it.
yes.
So now we need to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, so are you okay with it, Todd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nancy, it's approved and you will bring it up at the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to skip to new trees and shrubs in Riverside Park because Rob has to go to another meeting at 9 o'clock. So Rob, can you tell people about how that all occurred?
Sure. Mayor Tomko had asked that we make some landscaping upgrades to Riverside Park along the area between the walking path and the river, mainly between the playground and the library steps. So a lot of that area had become overgrown with invasive species of plant material, blocking the view of the river, and it was becoming overgrown and hard to manage. It was kind of an area kind of let go. And a lot of the beauty of the river was blocked by all of that. So he wanted to have us remove the invasive species, cut back all of that material, save the good trees and some of the good plants that were existing, and then add some of the some new plants to provide a variety of color and at various times of the year when the plants bloom, and to improve the overall visual aesthetics as you're walking along the path. So we had Craig Corse, the landscape architect from CT Consultants, provide consultation to a plan on what kind of plants we could purchase. And we made the purchase of those plants. And then the service department installed all of those plants recently, and they're being watered several times a day. We started cutting back the invasive material And we had a machine come in from South Russell. They were gracious enough to help us out with some of the big removal of the larger plants that we wanted to remove. And then we're going to be coming in with smaller trimming equipment to remove the other material. And then eventually those stumps will be treated to kill off the invasive species, and then encourage the native stuff to take over. And then all of those plants were designed to allow for a greater visibility of the river. It won't be blocking the view for long stretches like we had before.
Mhm.
So just more of a maintenance type item along that area, and then also to improve the visual aesthetics and landscaping.
So this is still a work in progress.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Is the planting finished?
The planting is completed as
Okay.
far as I know. Yes.
Great. Well, one happy thing about it was I had a call from a man named Bruce Rose, who lives in Cleveland Heights. He was representing a family and friends who had lost a child. I don't know what happened, but anyway, he wanted to donate a tree in honor of this child. Well, I thought, okay, we've got all these new trees. Why doesn't he just pick one? And that's what he did. He chose the one that's at the far eastern end of the park, in that area where the Cat's Den Garden Club had planted daffodils. It's a beautiful tree. I don't have the name of it right now, but he agreed to pay for it. So I assume the village has received a check for $230 some for it.
Yes, we did. Yeah, $203. Yes,
Okay,
we did receive that, and I'll be writing an acknowledgement letter back to them.
that's great. Well,
Okay.
it all worked out really well, and I was happy. He was happy too. So thank you very much. Okay, now to the issue of the donation for the playground design and installation. Now I'm getting all confused with my papers here. I think you probably saw in the Chagrin Valley Times that there's a Connor Foundation that wants to donate $20,000 for the design work for a new playground. They have asked a company called, I'm sorry. It's called the Land, LAND, all in caps, Studio, to come up with some design. So they are going to create 6 designs, and a committee has been chosen to review this series of designs to narrow it down to 2, which will be presented to council at its regular meeting on June 28th. The Riverside Park Playground Design Committee consists of Sally Florkowitz and Chelsea Whitman Rush, along with Angie DiBernardo, Aaron Group, and Nancy Rogoff. So, and your first meeting is this Friday. Do you know what time that meeting is, Nancy?
I think it's at 2:00 in the afternoon,
Okay.
I think.
Is that going to be a Zoom meeting?
There are also 2 people, representatives from the Connor Foundation.
Oh,
I
right.
recall
It's
their names.
Nick and Aaron Reef. RIEF.
Yes, it will be a Zoom meeting.
Okay. So I'm going to try to attend that if I can. But
I think that sounds wonderful. I'm just curious, just for curiosity's sake, like how does a group get picked, a special commission to
So,
narrow down those options? Just curious how that happens.
well,
Nancy, do you know?
this was discussed at the last council meeting. I think that the Connor Foundation approached the village regarding this, and in terms of a design and picking a design, because that had been in past discussions on the park design and what type of playground we would choose. That was kind of a sticking point because there's a good deal of cost involved in picking people who design a company to design a park. And so we hadn't gotten past that sticking point. So the Connor Foundation is donating the cost of reviewing different designs for park. So the village is part of that committee, and we'll look at some designs and they'll be presented to council and discussion for picking a final design. So it was done at a council meeting. The committee was picked, and part of the picking of the committee involved the Connor Foundation's desire to have its representative on this committee. And then the Village Facilities Committee, that I suppose that was council president's decision. Facilities Committee handles stuff like that generally for the village in the committee structure.
Yeah, I was just needed a little civics lesson on that.
Yeah, and I think they chose Sally Florquist because she's been involved in the village for a long time and is very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
And
right.
Chelsea would,
Yeah, that was the two community members, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that's Sally. And then Chelsea has been interested in playground parks. She has young children. So that represents the younger mom
yeah.
aspect of the thing.
So they will make their presentation to council on June 28th.
That's the understanding, yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess the meeting on Friday will be to sort some of this out.
yeah. Does anyone have anything to add to that? Rob, do you have?
Are they still gonna reuse some of the old playground equipment or not at all?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know at all what the design would be.
Yeah.
And then there's also, after the design is picked, there's also, raising money to do it.
Right.
So, it could cost 20,000 or 200,000. I mean, I have no idea.
I know, I just,
I don't think there's a plan to actually throw away all that equipment, but I don't know how it would be used. You're talking about the swings and the slide and.
right, I just wonder how much they're, involved in designing a playground. There's so many that have been designed already. You just take a snapshot of one and go, okay, here's what we want. I don't know, it'd take 20 grand and put it in the new equipment. But that's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not being a park designer, I don't know. But I do know that we're repairing or actually replacing, upgrading that walkway and moving it.
Right.
And I think that's really huge. I know I don't walk on it as much as probably Ann and some others do, but I do walk on it, and it's a very uneven surface and it's difficult to walk on. So I think that's really a huge thing for the village to do, and that'll be moved over. So that kind of displaces the park right there. So we need to do something constructive with the design and arrangement of all of that.
But it
And-
will
and I
still
think
be
that's the focus.
basically the same footprint. I mean, where the sidewalk is now that goes to the south side of the playground will become playground. And so it's not going to be any larger than that.
I don't know any of that. I just know that the path is being fixed,
Right.
replaced. I don't know, reconstructed, I think is probably a better term for it. And
Yes.
so when that's done, then the people who design will look at what it looks like afterwards. So I mean, it's not going to replace the same footprint that it is in now, because that footprint's going to be displaced in part by the straightening out and reconstruction of the walk. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the consideration is in terms of space and what we're looking at. I mean, that's discussion's probably best had, on Friday and future meetings of the design committee.
Well, when I've talked with Erin about it,
at the proposed designs, would be a better way to put it.
when I've talked with Erin about it, she explained it to me that, what is now sidewalk south of the park would become, south of the playground would become it would be used for the playground. So, her point was that it's not really going to be any larger than what you see now. It's just going to move,
Okay.
but it will be new equipment.
Yeah, if that's what she says, that, yeah, I just, I don't know. If that's what Erin said, then that's,
Yeah. And then there was some discussion about moving that playground equipment down to River Run Park, but I know when we've talked about this in the past, and John, you know this, there's some concern about whether or not the equipment can be removed and safely reinstalled. So it's, nobody knows how that's going to turn out. But the playground equipment in River Run needs to be just thrown away. I mean, it's old and falling apart.
Well, I can say we are going to look at everything that would possibly be removed and look at repurposing it at River Run Park possibly. We're going to look at that possibility,
Sure.
if it's feasible or not.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for the notes, so June 28th, will the actual 2 proposals that have been winnied down from 6 be prepared by then? Is that correct? And those will be the ones presented to council, the 2 playground proposals?
I guess so. I'm not sure. I thought there was going to be 3 proposals in the end. I don't know what.
No,
On
it was
June
6
28th.
it was 6
It'll be-
proposals to begin with, to be narrowed down to 2.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought I heard that.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to have it right in the minutes in case people want to go to that meeting, because that seems like a pretty big deal for some people to want to
Right.
weigh in on. Yeah, and I'm excited to see those. That's going to be a big change and a welcome change.
And I think people are going to have the opportunity to weigh in on it for more than just, June 28th. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when we built a playground at Hawken, it was a Leathers playground, just like the one that was out near Gurney. And we invited the kids to be part of that discussion, what they wanted, and it worked out really well. So it would be nice to get some children input too. Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss about this? Okay, then we need to move on to, let's see. I want to go back to River Run Park. There are those trees that were planted there in November of 2019. Some are doing well, others are not. There were 350 to 400 native species trees planted there with funding from the U.S. Forest Service Restoration Initiative in conjunction with the village and the Chagrin Watershed Partners and Davy Tree Help volunteers. But there are a lot of dead trees down there now, and it looks pretty crummy. Is there any plan, John, to remove the ones that are dead?
We've considered it. We haven't done anything yet, but really we talked about not cutting in between all the trees as well, but the guys have still been cutting in it because the whole process of this was reforestation. And they, the mayor even agreed that I thought it was going to be closer to the river, along the river and the woods. So we can't pull the cages off because the deer will get to them.
Right.
So and we can't weed eat up against them. It's just, they're supposed to grow up a little more so then we can attend to it. But we've been talking about not cutting around it and leaving it go to forestry like they've planned.
But what about the dead ones? Can't those be removed?
Yeah, we can. It's just not high on our priority list.
Yeah, I know.
right
You've
now.
got a lot going on.
You know, I mean, just with the grass, and I'm not to full capacity right now with my summer help either. So
You're still not? I'm
no,
surprised.
there's still 2 that are coming yet.
And it's gotta be pretty time consuming to cut around those things. I can't imagine what you guys are having to do with that. And sure doesn't look great with the grass growing up in between. So
Yeah,
it's just, yeah, it should have been, they should have all been planted near the river. I mean, I thought that's what it was gonna do, was keep the embankment from eroding.
and I think they planted so many trees because they knew that they would lose some. So that's not a surprise.
Yeah,
Well-
we split it with Orange Village, I know,
Right,
this program, but yeah, you always consider, I think you lose like, I think it's like 5 to 10% of what the capacity that you plant.
so we'll just take it one step at a time.
It's on our radar.
Okay. Well, you've got to do the dog park first, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And how's that going?
Tentatively, Auburn Fence is coming in on Tuesday. So then we can start addressing the soil and bring in topsoil and reseed the whole area and everything. So
That's great. That will be a huge improvement. Does anyone have anything else you want to bring up? I think we've covered our agenda now, so our next meeting is Wednesday, July 7th at 8:30. And it's now 9:02, so I declare this meeting adjourned at 9:02 a.m.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Greta, I will send you those names.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
For the committee, for the,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
okay.
great.
Thanks,
Okay, all
everybody.
right.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.